afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wapic Insurance PLC's full year 2017 Investors and Analysts Conference Call. My name is Bode Ojeni, Executive Director of Sales and Distribution, and I'm being joined today by Mrs. Yinka Adekoya, Managing Director, Wapic Insurance PLC, Mr. Dayo Arowojolu, Managing Director, Wapic Insurance Ghana Limited, Mr. Olufemi Obaleke, Executive Director, Subsidiaries, Mr. Peter Ehime, the Chief Risk Officer and Executive Director, Technical Division, Wapic Insurance PLC, Mr. Adewale Koko, Executive Director, Technical Division, Wapic Life Assurance Limited, Mr. Oluseyi Taiwo, the Chief Financial Officer of the company, Mr. Olushola Ojeniyi, the Chief Investment Officer, and Ms. Zina Giwamu, the Head of our Digital Division. For your information, the full year results being presented at this session was published in the last 2 weeks in the national dailies. During this call, we will discuss our business outlook and might make forward-looking statements. These statements and comments are based on our expectations as of today. Actual events and results could differ materially due to a number of risks and uncertainties. Before we jump into the presentation, just a few housekeeping matters. We are streaming live, and as such, the presentation is shared on your desktop and laptops. At this time, we advise participation to be on listen-only mode. May I repeat, at this time, we would advise participation to be on listen-only mode. I would therefore request that you be kind enough to mute your microphones so that you can hear us clearly, and such that background noises and noise does not interfere with the audio. At such a time as the presentation is concluded, we have left ample time in the agenda for questions. Instructions for participation in the question and answer session will follow at that time. We will also take questions that come in via the chat feature on WebEx. During the Q&A session, please limit yourself to one question and possibly one follow-up question. We will attempt to moderate the questions as seamlessly as possible. As a reminder, this conference is being recorded. Thank you very much. We'll now go into the presentation proper. Our outline for the presentation would take discussions about Wapic. We'll speak a bit about the operating environment as well as the regulatory environment. Thereafter, we'll look at the financial overview, and then subsequently, we'll take on what we see as the outlook for our 2018 business. I'll be taking the first 3 sessions. The Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Sheita, would take us through the financial overview, and I'll come back thereafter to take us through the outlook. I'll move on to slide 4, which gives the snapshot of the group, Wapic Insurance PLC. Wapic Insurance PLC operates through 3 entities. Wapic Insurance PLC, which is the quoted company on the stock exchange and the holding company for the group at this point, and has 2 subsidiaries, Wapic Life Assurance Limited, which is into life business, and Wapic Insurance Ghana Limited, operating out of Accra, Ghana, and is focused on general insurance business. We have 1 associated company, Coronation Merchant Bank Limited. Total number of professional staff is 206 as at December 31st, 2017. We have 13.4 billion ordinary shares of 50 kobo each in issue, and about 850,000 plus shareholders. Our total asset is 28 billion, while asset under management is 18 billion naira. We operate through 6 regional offices in Nigeria, located in Abuja, Benin, Enugu, Ibadan, Port Harcourt, and Kano. The company is listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and we also have a GDR depository bank with the Bank of New York Mellon. We are rated by AM Best Our current rating is C++ on financial strength and B+ on issue of credit. Both ratings are with stable outlooks. Our reinsurers are Munich Re, African Re, Waika Re, Continental Re, Nigerian Re, as well as Ghana Re. Our actuaries are E&Y in Nigeria and QED in Ghana. Our auditors, both in Nigeria and Ghana, are PwC. Moving on to slide 5, we'll give you a snapshot of the operating environment as we saw it in 2017. And I'll be speaking to these under 4 headers: the exchange rate, inflation, crude oil, and GDP growth. On exchange rate, the average Naira exchange rate has been reasonably stable within the last 2 quarters. The BDC rate closed at about 363 Naira to the dollar in December 2017. The current market is projected to maintain the recent stability amidst sustained accretion of external reserves, positive outlook for oil exports following OPEC's deal extending into 2018, and continuing the effectiveness of the I&E window. On inflation, the Central Bank of Nigeria left its benchmark interest rate unchanged at 14%, in line with market expectations. There has been a consistent drop in inflation rate from April 2016, with the lowest level recorded in December 2017 at 15.37%. The stable currency and positive growth in oil price was largely accountable for the improved performance. At the crude oil end, the Nigerian crude oil price was reported at 56.79 barrel in September 2017. In November 2017, the price hit a 28-month high, peaking at $64 per barrel, more than 19% higher than the country's oil price benchmark of $44.5 to the barrel. On the GDP growth, the Nigerian economy advanced 1.4% year-on-year in the third quarter of 2017, accelerating from an upwardly revised 0.72% growth in the previous period. This represents the second consecutive quarter of expansion as oil production continues to recover. GDP is estimated at 1.60 for December 2017. Slide 6 speaks to the regulatory and industry environment. The National Insurance Commission, NICOM, has reiterated its plan to further grow the Nigerian insurance industry by 2020 by collaborating with state governments to ensure the effective implementation of the second phase of the Market Development and Restructuring Initiative, MDRI. The MDRI is aimed at addressing issues of compulsory insurance products, insurance agency system, fake insurance institutions, and risk-based provision. On January 1, 2018, the Insurance Commission released a revised microinsurance guidelines for the underserved and excluded segment of the populace. The Commission says the guideline was introduced as part of its financial inclusion strategy to stimulate growth in the insurance subsector, especially the retail end of the market, and drive insurance penetration. The Securities and Exchange Commission, Nigeria's apex capital market regulator, had established a Nigerian Capital Market Development Fund to foster the development of the capital market through promotion of innovative products, inclusive participation, and investor education. The CBN, also within the period, has set state-by-state targets for the 21 commercial banks and 942 microfinance banks in the country to ensure that every Nigerian adult has access to financial services. The target for banks was set because the CBN plans to achieve 80% financial inclusion by 2020. Currently, the country has only achieved about 41.6%. The Insurance Commission, NICOM, as part of its efforts to curb the increasing challenge of rate cuts in the industry, released approved rates for compulsory classes of insurance to operators. This insurance includes group life, builder's liability, occupiers liability, motor third party, and healthcare professional indemnity insurance. The Commission intends to strictly monitor and enforce compliance on all these products going forward. I'll now hand you over to Mr. Sheitao, the CFO, to take us through the financial overview. Sheitao.
Good afternoon. I'll be taking you through the financial highlights, the income statement review, the statement of financial position review, and also looking at our assets under management. Slide 8 gives a highlight of our group financials as at the end of December 2017. Looking at it from the earnings side and also the financial position side. At total income level, Wapic Insurance grew by 10%, closing the period at 13.6% compared to 12.3% same period 2016. At the gross written premium level, we had a growth of 23%, closing 2017 at 9.8 billion. Our total underwriting expense grew by 5%, closing at 4.8 billion at the end of December 2017. We had a 304% growth in our underwriting profit for the period, closing at 1.5 billion compared to 381 million we had in 2016. We had a drop in our net investment and other income of 16%, closing at 3.1 billion. Our profit before tax grew by 36% compared to 2016, closing at 1.6 billion at the end of 2017. We had a reduction of 9% on our net claims ratio, closing at 45% compared to 52% in 2016. Our earnings per share grew by 175%, closing at 11 kobo per share. Financial assets for the period grew by 28%, closing the period December 2017 at 9.4 billion. We had a total asset growth of 10 billion 2017 against 2016. As shareholders' funds grew by 8%, and we closed 2017 with return on asset of 6% and return on equity of 8% compared to 5% and 4% for 2016 respectively. Our income statement review. Our gross written premium increased to 9.8 billion at the end of the financial year 2017, a 23% growth from 8 billion achieved prior period. Our insurance expense grew by 19%, driven by the increase in our facultative insurance to balance exposure on specific risks, particularly in our oil and energy business, and also our general accident portfolio. Net claims and underwriting expense grew by 7% and 5% year-on-year, respectively, for the period. We had a commendable growth of 304% on our underwriting profit from 381 recorded in the prior year to 1.5 billion for the period 2017. Other operating income dipped by 50% in 2017 to 1.1 billion from the prior period position of 2.3 billion. This was mainly driven by the foreign exchange gains recorded in 2016 that wasn't repeated in 2017. We had a slight growth in our operating expense, a slight growth of 7% in our operating expense for the period. Slide 11 looks at our product performance. Our motor, oil and energy, life and general accident were the top performing products in our portfolio in 2017, with motor being the highest performer, having a 22% share in the total product portfolio. General accident as well as oil and energy were the most profitable products, leading with 34% respectively contribution to the underwriting profit for the period. This was closely followed by our motor portfolio, contributing 30% to the profitability. The increased growth and profitability in the motor portfolio is evidence of the company's commitment to driving the flagship motor products move. Slide 12 looks at our group expenses. Looking at our net claims expense, the improvement in our risk selection process contributed fairly to the stable net claims expense, which grew mildly by 7% year-on-year to close at 3 billion in 2017 compared to 2.9 billion in 2016. Increase in net premium further pushing the effect of our claims ratio, which dropped by 19% from the preceding year's ratio of 54% in 2017. Underwriting expense. The trend for improved payoff in underwriting expense grew only by a slight proportion to 1.7 billion in 2017 from 1.6 billion recorded in the prior year. The improved top-line performance for the period, coupled with better quality efficiency, pushed the underwriting expense ratio down to 19% from 24% in the preceding year. The group's cost optimization effort continues to pay off as our total expense remained relatively stable with a 6% growth in 2017, closing at 4.4 billion compared to 4.1 billion recorded in 2016. Our OPEX ratio closed at 45%, a reduction from the 52% recorded in 2016, owing to improved top-line performance and relative stability in our overall operating expense during the year. Reinsurance expense grew to 3.9 billion, a 19% year-on-year growth from 3.3 in 2016. We have continued to optimize our reinsurance processes to adequately manage our underwriting expenses, benefits which we expect to continue in 2018. Slide 14 looks at our total revenue. Wapic's total revenue grew by 10% year-on-year to close at 13.6 billion for the financial year 2017, up from 12.4 we had in 2016. We have continued to show continued growth trajectory through the year, recording 18% 4-year cumulative growth on our total revenue. Ghana's effective awareness drive continues to pay off, evidenced by the increased share of the Ghana insurance to the total group's revenue. Ghana contributed 13% to the group's total GWP for the period. Our large corporate group contributed the last chunk of premium at 47%, followed by the financial institutions group at 21%. Wapic has repositioned its retail group to ensure a successful implementation of its reinvented retail go-to-market penetration strategy. The larger contribution from this segment is expected in the coming years. Our group profit position. Underwriting profit recovered from the sharp decline recorded in 2016, returning a 304% growth to close at 1.5 billion for the period. Underwriting profit margin followed in the same upward curve at 16%. The growth in our underwriting profit as well as the relative stability in our net claims expense and operating expense further supported the rebound in our operating profit for the period at 234 million. Return on assets and return on equity equally recorded positive growth in 2017 compared to the prior period at 6% and 9% respectively. A review of our statement of financial position. As we continue to ensure we maximize our balance sheet, we had to have a portfolio realignment to take advantage of the high-yielding assets within the investment space. This led to the 21% drop in our cash and cash equivalent for the period, and the growth in our financial assets of 28% due to the elevated yield in fixed income securities. Reinsurance assets remained flat for the period at 1.5 billion. The equity value of investment in associates grew by 15% year-on-year to 8.3 billion in 2017, driven by the increase in share profit during the period. Investment property declined by 42% in line with the company's strategic shift to higher yielding assets. This depletion is expected to continue through 2018. Our insurance and investment contract liabilities grew by 12% and 16% respectively for the period, following a growth in pure risk and investment obligations during the period. The ratio of our earning assets to total assets remained relatively flat year-on-year between 2016 and 2017 at 7.72% and 73% respectively. The total assets position grew by 10%, closing the period at 28.6 billion from 25.9 billion recorded in the prior period 2016. Our total liabilities grew by 14% to 10.6 billion in the period under review, against the position of 9.3 billion recorded in 2016. This is largely driven by the growth in our insurance and investment contract liabilities. Our shareholders' funds went up by 8% to close at 17.9 billion at the end of December 2017, up from 6.6 billion closed with in 2016. Our assets under management. Our assets under management portfolio, as stated earlier, is highly concentrated on our investment in associates and also in fixed income security, basically to ensure that we continue to take advantage of the high yield in the fixed income securities market. Our investment property portfolio reduced in line with the strategy to fully exit the underperforming legacy properties. The growth in our investment in associates reflects the group's share of profit in our associated company, Coronation Merchant Bank. Treasury bills and money market deposits were rebalanced to take advantage of upticks in yields in the fixed income market. We also had an impact of the overall improvement in the capital market on our total quoted investments for the period. I will now hand over back to Bode Ojeni to take the other part of the presentation.
Thank you very much, Sheyi. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now take a look at how we see the outlook for 2018. And I'll be speaking to these under 4 different headers, the financials, operations, sales, and people. On financials, we'll continue to proactively drive for a solid solvency margin as we await the likely regulatory change in capital adequacy rules. We expect continued growth in our premium performance in line with our strategic year-on-year growth expectations. We shall maintain a continuous focus on cost optimization and efficiency initiatives throughout the business in order to meet our strict target cost-to-income ratios. In our operations, we have transformed our corporate website into a world-class e-business platform and customer experience touchpoint to enable sales and enhance customer engagement. We are set to launch a self-service omni-channel platform for customers to conveniently connect with us. This will deliver growth in premium, increase customer satisfaction index, as well as improved service delivery and internal efficiency. We have established a digital division which will drive the group's digital strategy, including digital marketing, channels management, and data analytics and intelligence. In our sales, we expect a further deepening of our retail insurance penetration countrywide as we continue to grow our customer base. We would optimize the Wapic Life offerings with the launch of new products such as annuity, funeral insurance products, and the likes. We have rolled out plans for full implementation of our bank assurance model in all major state capitals across the country, in line with available growth opportunities. On our people, we are committed to being a great place to work. We remain focused on a performance-driven organization with significant improvements in employee engagement initiatives anchored by staff and for staff. As a foundation to our strategic drive for the best talent in the industry, our investment in talent development are expected to continue to manifest in productivity gains for the organization. We will continue to inculcate the behaviors, culture, and innovation associated with leading customer experience providers. This brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you everyone for listening in. The floor is now open for questions and answers. Should you wish to ask a question, please unmute your phone or computer at this time and speak. We would like to ask that you please indicate your name and company as you ask the questions. Thank you very much.
I can't hear you, so you have to unmute you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So I have a couple of questions. And the first will be,
Good afternoon, Mayfair. Could you please speak up a bit?
good afternoon. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you clearly now. Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Omoyinde Romasale from Analyst Securities Limited. So I have a couple of questions. Then I'll start with your motor insurance. I would love you to give further explanation on what you're doing differently that makes the motor insurance a sizable part of the gross premium 2017, which was one of the major contributions to the premium. So I'd like you to give more shed some light on that. Also, I would love to know your projection for each of the segments in terms of growth next year. So for oil and gas, for motor, and for life. Thirdly, I also want to know what proportion of customers account for the life insurance part of your premium. Lastly, I also want to know what is, I also want to give a guidance on the insurance rate for next year.
Thank you very much. Could you please in the interim mute your phone or laptop? So to your question on motor insurance, what we've done over the last 2 years was to repackage motor insurance offering to have a better appeal to clients. And in the course of 2017, we did have a major sales campaign for the organization, and this resulted in the quantum lift in the contribution of the motor insurance to the overall business. In terms of our projections for 2018, we expect that this will be in line with strategic growth objectives of a minimum of 25% year on year, and this is what we expect to see for the period 2018. On life business, the major contributor to our life business is group life, but we expect to see a shift in this as we deepen further in in the sale of our retail products which we launched last year. Those are the smart life products. I hope I've been able to capture all your questions.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Haven't answered all of my questions. You haven't given me a guidance on your insurance rate for 2018.
If I may clarify, you would like to know what the insurance rates for 2018 will be.
Reinsurance rate.
Oh, reinsurance rate.
Reinsurance rate, yes.
Oh, okay.
Huh? Have you done
Good afternoon, Omaese.
Yes.
The reinsurance rate, looking at it from at the top level, we would expect to have a reinsurance of between 25 to 30% against our gross written premium in 2018. Because the reinsurance is broken into various types of reinsurance. So on the top level, we would have about 25 to 30% rates of reinsurance.
Okay. Also, I would love to ask one more question. In 2018, are we expecting to see the rate of decline we saw in your investment properties? Are we expecting that pace of decline to continue to 2018?
We expect further reduction in the investment properties portfolio. I mean, just like the CFO said in his remarks, it's a strategic decision to go out of non-yielding assets and be able to push the proceeds for higher yields.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, are there any further questions?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, my name is Ayo Kunle. I'm calling you from Augusto Co. Thank you for the presentation. I have just a few questions. The first one, you said that we are expecting further reduction in investment properties. Is it possible for you to give us a guidance, just an idea of the level of reduction that we expect to see in investment properties? And also, I want to ask, what's your preparation for the risk-based supervision? And in your opinion, when do you think it's going to be full implementation? Thank you.
I wanted damage.
I'll ask Mr. Sheitao to take the first question while I speak to the second. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayokule, for your question. Thank you for your question, Ayokule. On the investment property, we expect at the minimum a repeat of what we experienced in 2017 for the reduction in our investment portfolio. Just as we have said earlier, the strategic intent is to be able to exceed investment property portfolio, so we could channel those funds to higher yield investments for the company.
Thank you, Ayokule. With respect to your question on the risk-based supervision and what's the timeline for the regulator to kick this in, we don't have a specific timeline. If you recall, this was one of the 7-point agenda for NICOM for 2017, which hasn't come into play. However, as an organization, what we've done is to proactively commence the implementation of our Solvency II processes, and we've gone quite far in that. So we are more than prepared at any point in time at which the regulator decides to kick it in. Wapic will be in the front. Ladies and gentlemen, are there further questions?
Holding girl.
Good afternoon.
Holding girl.
My name is Dami from EY.
Good afternoon.
I'd like to ask that with respect to specialist products such as engineering that recorded a negative underwriting profit, what capacity is the company building internally to ensure improved underwriting performance? And secondly, in the medium to long term, by how much does the company expect the digital division to contribute to GWP?
With all due respect, may I please request that you speak up a bit so we can hear you properly?
Okay, my first question is with respect to products such as engineering and aviation that recorded negative underwriting profit in the prior year, what capacity is the company building internally to ensure improved underwriting performance? And secondly, in the medium to long term, by how much does the company expect the digital division to contribute to GWP?
So could you please repeat the last question?
By how much does the company expect the digital division to contribute to GWP in the medium to the long term?
Thank you very much. I'll start from the second question with respect to the contribution, estimated or expected contribution of the digital division to the bottom line. Essentially, the digital division, by our own strategy, is meant to be an enabler for the entire parts of the business, particularly within the retail space. In terms of optimization of all the available channels and the touch points that can be driven by technology. And this is what we expect in terms of contribution from the digital division. And the results will be seen in the other areas of the business. On the first question with respect to the contribution by engineering and innovation, I'll ask the Managing Director, Mr. Yinka Adekoya, to speak to that.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your question. What we have done is to latch on the experience of our reinsurers to train our staff on these special risks. We are quite aware that they are risky and there is need for us to learn a lot about it. It's not as if we don't have specialists within house. We all just had a bad year last year because of some things that occurred. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to take more questions if there are any. Thank you.
Hi, you still around?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not asking the question at this point, please mute your phone and your system. Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yeah, I was not on this call. Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Tajidin Ibrahim. I would like to ask one or two questions, and I would appreciate, value additive inside. The first has to do with the insurance industry as a whole. Can you give us a sense around what you think will be a major catalyst for the industry? Let me say in the medium term, within the next 3 years. And by catalyst, I'm talking about a major factor that could drive the growth of the industry. That's one. Two is you said you are ready for the risk-based capitalization of NICOM, but you did not tell us what you have done or your readiness, what exactly your readiness means. If you can shed some light on that, I think it will also add value. My second question is around your retail business. As we speak, retail I see is around 5% contribution to your gross written premium. So if we give this retail business, considering your focus, if we give it a 5 to 10 year look, where would you say your target is over that period? Let's say the next 5 years. Where would you be, or where do you aspire to be on the retail business? Because that is where we think penetration, the density could really improve, for the industry. So that's second. The third one is you talked about managing your underwriting expenses, and I would like it if you can, give us some insight on how exactly you plan to manage the underwriting expenses. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tajudeen. To your first point, which has to do with the catalyst that we see as necessary requirements to drive the growth of the industry. I'll be speaking to them from a couple of points. One is the risk-based supervision. This we expect to lead over the next 3 to 5 years, lead to adequacy with respect to capitalization of the industry. And this will increase the retention locally. Because what the industry suffers from today is inadequate capitalization, which is leading to premium flights to Europe and beyond. So once the industry is adequately capitalized, we expect to see more retention within the country and then more deepening of the ability of the industry to grow. Secondly, we expect to see the impact of technology, which is digitalization of the industry in terms of processes and operations. And you and I know that today technology is becoming the order of the day, and this industry needs to move into that space and use it to drive customer experience and the insurance penetration. The third will be, again, retail focus. And one of the targets by NICOM for the next couple of years is to deepen financial inclusion within the insurance space. And a lot of the plans are in the works at the insurance level, at the insurance committee level, to push this into the market. And I believe that over the next couple of months, you begin to see pronouncements and directives from NICOM along this line in terms of creating awareness. And one of the things that you see NICOM doing today is trying to collaborate with state governments with respect to compulsory insurances. So they are collaborating with state government, they are collaborating with a lot of federal government parastatals like the FRSC to ensure that people take on insurance, particularly in the auto space. And even with respect to household insurance policy. So we expect all of these and many more things that are being worked on at both the operator and regulator level to drive the growth in the industry over the next couple of years. To your second point with respect to what we're doing with risk-based risk-based supervision, and like I said the other time, we have done a lot of work with respect to our Solvency II and capital adequacy measures. So we've done an internal review. We know where we are and what we need to do preparatory to that. And if you recall, during the last AGM, we had proactively obtained the approval of the shareholders for us to also raise additional capital in the minimum sum of 10 billion naira. So these are the things that Wapic has done preparatory to risk-based supervision. One of the consultants that worked with us for our Solvency II was KPMG, and this reputable organization have handled capitalization issues for other organizations. And on the retail side, yes, we are fully aware of the low contribution of retail to our business. And if you recall, over the last couple of analyst conference, we did share some of our plans with you. What we've done in terms of investment in studying the Nigerian insurance, retail insurance space, and determining how we want to play in that market. So today, one of the things we've done is to reorganize our retail business space, and we're beginning to roll out plans. We're beginning to increase our agency structure and the number of bodies within the agency space to ensure that we cover the market effectively. Thanks to the regulators, with approval of the bank assurance model for insurance companies, we have enhanced and enlarged our partnership with a major partner, Access Bank, and we are doing a lot in that space with respect to the bank assurance penetration and the contribution to our business. Our plan over the next 3 to 5 years is to see our retail business contributing at a minimum 45 to 50% of the overall revenue of the company.
Okay, so if I heard you right, you said you plan for like a 3 to 5 year period for the retail business to contribute close to 50% over the next 5 years. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Then can you please update us on the 10 billion capital raising plan? We seem not to have, I seem not to have heard much about it since the last time.
Thank you very much for your ever insightful questions, Mr. Tajidin. The capital raise plan is proactive. We took that step to proactively prepare ourselves in the event that the regulator decides to make the pronouncement with respect to capital raise for the industry. We know all the processes that are involved, and we don't want to, at that point, call EGMs and all that. We're just moving. We're already putting our plans together to kick this off anytime from now.
Okay, so does it sound like we could see this capital injection in 2018? Is that correct?
In the medium term.
Is that likely to happen? So in the medium term,
yes.
So maybe 2018, maybe not, right?
Maybe not, yes.
Okay, so from a wider industry perspective, when I heard the NICOM's decision to lower the minimum capital base for micro insurance in January, it sounded to me like they have started like a broad industry review, and I'm surprised that up until now we're in April, we've not heard anything on the wider industry talking about the regular insurance companies like you and every other insurers out there. So how soon do you think we would hear some pronouncements from NICOM with respect to this risk-based supervision thing? Is it likely to materialize this year, or we should expect further delay? And if yes, what would you think are the delays?
Thank you very much, Mr. Tajudeen. Unfortunately, I'm unable to hold brief for Nikon, but what I know is that they are also working with reputable consultants to guide the process, particularly with respect to the larger industry.
Then there's one more question that has not been answered. It is how you intend to manage your underwriting expenses.
Thank you very much. I would ask that our Managing Director, Mrs. Yinka Adekoya, answers that question. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Tajudeen.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
What we have done in the past 1 year is to set up a full-fledged inspection and survey unit. With the capacity building within the system, we're able to save some money instead of having external people doing our survey and inspections for us. With this, we believe we are going to save a lot of money on underwriting expenses. Does that answer your question?
It does. So it is more like change of approach.
Yes, and aside from that, we also did away with some loss returning policies that we had in our portfolio. We increased the terms in some cases, and we went away from some totally in the past 1 year. So with that, we've been able to improve our underwriting expense and the our return on investment on underwriting.
Okay, so from what I see in the numbers, I saw underwriting expense growth of 5%, which I think is, reflects a bit of an improvement in terms of you taming the growth. So in 2018, what else can we see? If the growth we saw here is only 5%, should we expect a reduction? A decline? If you further intensify on this your strategy.
Thank you. We expect it to be sustained, and we also expect that there will be improvements as we go along the year.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. That really helps.
Thank you very much. If there are no further questions, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to...
Hello. Sorry, I have a question.
Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Mustafa. And my question is actually similar to the question asked by Mr. Tajudeen around your retail business, which I've gotten part of the answers, but I just want to know, are you, in terms of growing your retail business, are you also looking at exploiting the microinsurance aspect of the retail? Because for example, just like CBN, that they are driving the financial inclusion. So I guess what NICOM is also trying to achieve, based on the recent policy that they issue on microinsurance, is also drive this inclusion, for this aspect of the FSI. So is this something you are looking at as part of your strategy to grow your retail business?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mustafa. In growing our retail business, we have phased out our approach. So the micro insurance element is in the second phase of our plan. Right now, we are focusing more on the middle part of the retail business.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
If there are no further questions, we'd like to bring this presentation to a close. I would like to say thank you very much to everyone for participating. We hope that when we do have the next session, where we present to you our Q1 results, you'll be there for us. And thank you for your support. Thank you for the insightful questions. We'll continue to put it out there as an organization to reckon with. Thank you very much, and have a good day.